Is it time to reveal your real magic and become seen, known, and valued? Hi, hope you're having a great week and had a beautiful weekend. Today we are talking about letting go of the inner critic, and we're going to do a deep poetry dive. Really excited about this. So if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Rena Aiken. I'm a deep dive visibility mentor for visionary leaders, and I help you unlock the frozenness so that you can really embody your fullness and show up as who you are to attract the people that you are here to make a difference with in the world. So welcome to this session. If you haven't seen it, in the last session we did, the last Visionary Voices deep dive that we did, we focused on ditching the critic, and we did a powerful energy release to release the external critics. But I know, and I've heard from many of you, and I know my own experience, that the toughest critic is often the inner critic. So, and for many of us, it's the most painful one. It can really constantly be showing up in our heads and putting us down, belittling us, finding fault, telling us it's not good enough, saying, who are you, sabotaging our ability to show up and bring who we are. So I'd love to hear from you. What's your experience around this? Just pop a hello, or if you're watching the replay, pop in a replay. I'd love to read your comments. So hi Caroline, hi Wendy, hi Leontine. Wonderful to see you all here. There's often a bit of a delay between me showing up and on Zoom and the comments. So let me know, how does your inner critic affect you? What's your experience? Because what I know about the inner critic is when we give it too much power and too much energy, it becomes a bit of a bully. It can be really nasty. And so we, what we're going to be doing today is how can we cultivate and evolve another voice inside us and let go of that one, to stop. When it's an external critic, we can set a boundary, we can release the energies, we can decide how much how much space that person is going to have in our life. And we can do the same with the inner critic as well. But we live in a world where it's just normal to criticize and be criticized all the time. So, and one of the things that I've come to see about the inner critic, and I don't know if you know this story, it's an Aesop's fable, it's an old parable about the wind and the sun. And the wind and the sun are having a chat one day, and they see a man walking down the street, and the wind is a bit jealous of the sun, and the wind says to the sun, I bet you I can force that man to take his coat off. And the sun is just like, okay, have a go. And the wind blew and blew, and the harder it blew, trying to blow the man's coat off, the harder he pulled that coat tight around him to protect him from the wind. And that's how it is. The harder our inner critic goes at us, the less likely we are to do the things that the inner critic is telling us that we shouldn't be doing or should be doing, or the perfectionist voice wants us to do. And so the sun in this parable just said, because when the wind failed to blow the coat off, the sun just shone. It shone so strongly that the man got hot and he just took his coat off. And that's also what's possible when we evolve our other inner voices who help us to shine and bring us in love. It's so much more easier for us to do a lot of the things our inner critic is constantly on at us for. So let me just check the comments. My inner critic loves to cause resistance. Absolutely. So that's it. The more the wind blows, the harder it is that the man is going to hold on his coat. The harder our inner critic, harsher it is with us, the more likely we are to resist. So it actually doesn't work. It's not very effective. So what we're going to focus on today is where our attention is, our energy flows, and we actually need to cut new pathways in our brains and in our bodies and in our energy systems if we have a very active inner critic. And poetry is a brilliant way to rewire the brain. So I'll share more with you at the end about how you can use poetry to actually create a new story and create a new voice. I'll give you an experience of that today. So after we do the energy release that we did last time, we need to embody the new habits, the new ways of thinking, the new ways of showing up. And that's something that's often missing, I find, in personal development. We do lots of deep transformation work and release energies, and that's great. It's really important. I do it all the time. But then what are the new ways of showing up that cut the new pathway, like we were cutting through a jungle? The pathway of our inner critic is like this big superhighway that already exists. We need to cut some new pathways to shift where our attention and our energy goes. So the poem I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to share two, is called She Let Go by the Reverend Sapphire Rose. And this is a poem that I came across when I remember the day I was walking back from lunch. I was still working as a CEO in the UK. And I just noticed on my short walk back from lunch, I just lived 3 or 4 minutes from the office, that I just noticed this mind kind of constantly. And it just, it was always there, but somehow I just was like, oh, this is really harsh. And I had an impossible job. I had a crazy to-do list. It didn't matter how many hours I did. I always felt like I was barely making a dent in that, insane, huge pile of stuff I had to do and all the responsibility that I had. And it didn't matter how much success I created. I transformed the organization. I built an incredible team. I, brought in multiple 6 figures of funding. I created a new office. I led on national projects. I really created a lot of success, and it didn't matter. There was always never enough for the inner critic. And around that time, somebody shared this poem with me, and I was like, oh, that's the poem that I need. But it also, I could feel the stretch. I could really feel the stretch between where I was and where the poem was. And so I actually reached out to somebody in the poetry community who'd done training with me, and I got them to hold space for me while I worked through this poem using what I call poetry alchemy. So very, very powerful. It really helped me to shift and turn down the volume on that. So we'll be going deeper into that now. So this poetry alchemy, this poetry dive that I'm going to be leading you through today. So I just invite you to get comfortable, to allow the poem words to wash over you like they were music. You don't have to understand it all, just experience it. I will share the poems with you later on. So just experience it. And let me check the comments as you're getting ready, just really breathing down. Caroline is saying, feels like my inner critic isn't that powerful anymore. Beautiful. That's exactly where we want to be. Vlada aligns with the process starting last time. I've got the critic from someone who stays close to me. So I could really experience the critic again and feel this. Okay, beautiful. So yeah, it can be transmuted. So that's lovely. So just take a moment to breathe your energy down deeper into your body and feeling your awareness drop down into your heart, into your belly, into your legs. And I'm going to start with a poem called The Love After Love by Derek Walcott, which really creates a beautiful field of love and compassion and safety, encouraging us to come home to the part of ourselves that does love us. And this creates a gorgeous field of safety before we dive in to let go of the inner critic. So just receiving this now, breathing in more deeply. love after love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she let go. She let go of fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming inside her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry. She just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her date timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't read the weather report or check her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. There was no one around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, And it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face, and a light breeze blew through her. And the sun and the moon shone forevermore. He let go. Without a thought or a word, he let go. He let go of fear. He let go of the judgments. He let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around his head. He let go of the committee of indecision within him. He let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry. He just let go. He didn't ask anyone for advice. He didn't read a book on how to let go. He didn't search the scriptures. He just let go. He let go of all the anxiety that kept him from moving forward. He let go of all the memories that held him back. He let go of all the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. He didn't promise to let go. He didn't journal about it. He didn't write the projected date in his date timer. He made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. He didn't check the weather report or read his daily horoscope. He just let go. He didn't analyze whether he should let go. He didn't call his friends to discuss the matter. He didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. He didn't call the prayer line. He didn't utter one word. He just let go. There was no one around when it happened. No one thanked him or praised him. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, he just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, he let it all be. A small smile came over his face, and a light breeze blew through him, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. I let go. Without a thought or a word, I let go. I let go of fear. I let go of the judgments. I let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around my head. I let go of the committee of indecision within me. I let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely. Without hesitation or worry, I just let go. I didn't ask anyone for advice. I didn't search the scriptures. I didn't read a book on how to let go. I just let go. I let go of all the memories that held me back. I let go of all the anxiety that stopped me from moving forward. I let go of the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. I didn't promise to let go. I didn't write the projected date in my day timer. I didn't journal about it. I made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. I didn't check the weather report or read my daily horoscope. I just let go. I didn't analyze whether I should let go. I didn't call my friends to discuss the matter. I didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. I didn't call the prayer line. I didn't utter one word. I just let go. There was no one around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked me or praised me. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, I just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, I let it all be. A small smile came over my face, and a light breeze blew through me, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. So just let that sink in. Let that integrate into your system. Let that rewire your system, and just notice what lands, what is stretched, what is activated by these beautiful poems. What lands with you. In this, as Caroline says, in the space of letting go, I let it all be. That's so powerful. Beautiful. So let me know in the comments what landed with you, what touched you, what has affected you from this poetry dive today. And I want to speak to you a little bit before we finish about how you can embody a poem so that it rewires your brain, your energy system, your habitual thought patterns and ways of showing up. So there's some research been done on neuroscience and the brain, and there's something called neuroplasticity, which means that our thought patterns are not fixed. They can be adjusted, even if they're very old and very repetitive. It doesn't matter how old we are, we can always change our brain, and we can literally rewire our brain with our thoughts. And the more a neural pathway is used, it's like cutting that pathway through the jungle. The more that path is used, the stronger it becomes, the wider it becomes, the more dominant it is. So some of our neural pathways have given us good habits and some not so good. So what we need to do is shift to create these new habits. And one of the keys that our brain loves, that really cuts new pathways, is novelty. So, and research has shown, because some new things kind of get our attention and they kind of spark up the brain, they fire brain chemicals that actually create these new pathways. And research has shown that the language of poetry is like a rocket booster for our brain, because it's unexpected, it's beautiful, it's not what you would think, and it really gets our attention, just like you love listening to it. Our brain and our whole system loves, and we really pay attention to it. And poetry also, it lights up the parts of the brain that are connected with language, with memory, with emotion. It's so good for reframing, for bringing in new stories, new interpretations, and new meaning. is really powerful. So one of the things that I do and that I've learned to do, I'm going to share with you today, is to really work deeply with a poem. You know, the first thing to do is choose a poem that you love, that really speaks to you, and it's the right poem at the right time is really powerful. One that is just what you need, is the kind of companion or the teacher that you need in your life right now. And often there's a gap between where we are and where the poem is, and working deeply with the poem brings us closer to that gap and helps us bring that beautiful vibrational medicine of the poem into ourselves in a way that's unique for each of us. And one of the ways to do it is to bring that poem into your life, to read it regularly. And I do this in a way that involves no extra time, because I know we're all super busy. So this is why I love it as a practice. And I was doing this today, and I often do it, that when I'm going about my business in the morning, when I'm getting dressed, even in the shower. I love to recite poetry in the shower. Some people love to sing. When I'm kind of making food, you can do it when you're walking, when you're in the car, when you're traveling, when you're doing the ironing, when you're folding the laundry, all the domestics, exercising. You could read it aloud, you could share it with others, and really surrender to each line. Do it piece by piece. I will often just do a few lines at a time. A few lines for one day is enough, maybe just one. But surrender. Each line is a wise teacher. Each line will bring wisdom, and notice the interpretations, the associations that you have with each word, each line, and allow them to build. And when I'm working with the poem, I work with it for usually at least 2 weeks and sometimes a few months, depending on how long it is and how much I need to shift into it. So let's connect with some of these comments. So Wendy is saying, sometimes letting go feels like hard working, but in fact, and I feel it more often, it isn't hard work at all. Yes, in the space of letting go, I let it all be. Wow, beautiful. Yes, and Leontine, letting go is no action. It's a result of becoming more aware. That's beautiful. Exactly, that's it. Becoming more aware. So I'd love to share with you, if you want to go deeper with the poem, I'm going to share with you a beautiful poetry guide that I have created, and I've just posted the link for you. And this is a free guide that I've created. It's a few years old. Honestly, I'm probably going to update it, so grab it now, because I'm probably going to change it when I have some time to, and I might even create a little online course with it. But it's got 50 poems that you can look up. It's got a list of 10 beautiful poetry books, and it gives you some really good tips on how to work with a poem and the difference that makes for you. So this is that gorgeous Using Poetry for Wholehearted Living poetry guide. So grab that if you're interested in going more deeply with poetry. And this is something that I will be developing and teaching even more, because it's such a powerful tool. And if you, like me, when I first encountered this poem, if you feel like you need more space holding with the poem, that if there's a gap that's really big between you and the poem that you want to work with, I also offer poetry alchemy sessions. I integrate this into my regular coaching work when it's appropriate, but I also do standalone sessions just to work with the poem, just to speak, to embody, to really sink into the poem, and then it brings up what's leaving, it brings up new insights. It's an incredible tool, usually 4 sessions. And I will also give you a poetry prescription for whatever issue it is you want to shift. So I've got over 1,000 poems on my computer, and way more than that in my poetry bookshelf. And so I will give you a poetry prescription with a short list of 5, 7, maybe 10 poems that you can choose from to help you with that issue, as well as a few sessions to go deep on it. So if you're interested in that, just reach out and let's have a chat. But it's an incredible tool to bring presence. So great. Leontine saying saved on my laptop. Thank you, Caroline. That is so cool. So let me know whether you're watching this live or whether you're listening to the recording. If you have any questions, let me know what's landed with you from this session. And if you want to go deeper with this tool of working with the poem, because this is how I can speak these poems from memory pretty much, because I've embodied them to an extent that they kind of flow through me. These really powerful poems. It's such a powerful thing to do, and it really brings you into a deep presence in how you show up in the world as well. So I'd love to share that with you. Okay, so that's all for today. I will speak to you again next week. Bye for now.